welcome back to my Out of the Park Baseball 21 series with Age Pistol Shrimp. This is episode number 7, I believe 7 or 8. And we are at the end of the 2023 season. We had another 75 and 7 finish. That is 2 in a row. Oh, no. We're actually 2 games worse than we were last year. It was a really up and down season. You can see 9 and 19, 12 and 17, and 2 over 500 months, 14 and 11, and 16 and 12. And then we dropped way back down in August, and then we were about 500 to finish it up. Below average, both offensively and on the mound. We're good at and continue to be good at is base stealing and running the bases. So take a quick look at the team. Look at the good, look at the not so good, and then figure out what we're going to do to get better here in offseason. So if we go to batting war, G on Q, another really good season in terms of war, but I'm starting to question the overall impact he's having on the team, whether or not it's actually as good as one would think. He ended up, his numbers from last year to this year, home runs dropped significantly, RBIs dropped, he had less walks, more extra base hits, stole a couple more bases. His average and his on-base percentage was a little bit higher. On-base percentage was identical. His slugging percentage was a little low, and he ended up with 776. OPS was still a very, very good second baseman. I fully expect him to win Glove this year. But at $23 million, I'm not entirely sure that we can afford him right now. You look, we only have about $14 in free agents, 10 in extensions. A lot of that's going to have to go to Alex Verdugo, which you'll see here in a minute. Verdugo had a really nice first year for us, 120 games, 5 WAR player, 324, 393, 571. Did exactly what we brought him in to do, which was hit for an average, hit for some power, drive in some runs, drove in 83 runs in 120 games. Played 160 games, he would have driven in 110, which can't complain about. So, and was improved in the field as the year went on. He started out, he was negative 2.8 zone rating or something like that at the end of May. So he came along nicely in the field. Bo Naylor, really solid year as a catcher. 260, 356, 451, 807 OPS, 3.4 were added in. We stole a ton of bases, guys. 19 stolen bases. Can't ask for more out of your catcher spot. Jared Mills, really surprised after getting him from Detroit. His numbers, you wouldn't suspect this type of productivity given these numbers, but 830 OPS, 3.1 WAR, played pretty well at multiple outfield positions. So it's a solid get for us. Lewin Diaz had a really nice second full season, upped his home runs. RBIs were down a little bit, but he wasn't the lone run producer in this lineup. But home runs were up, average was up, on-base percentage was up, slugging was up, raised his OPS by over 100 points from his rookie to his sophomore, or to his second season. I mean, really, really good offensively for us. Khalil Lee, and I mentioned this, I think, in the last video. As long as I'm only playing him against righties, he's pretty solid. 16 home runs, 50 runs knocked in, 276, 364, 444, stole 41 bases, finished second in the league there as well. So he's been a solid pickup for us since we got him in a trade. Last 2 full seasons, 270, 275 hitter, 800 to 840 OPS, and a 2.5 to 3 win player. So, he's been really solid in that 2-hole. And then from there, it was kind of a whole lot of meh. Rocio was fine as a Rule 5 guy, backing up at second and short, and actually got into 57 starts. Played pretty well, actually. Ornelas is going to force my hand here a little bit. He came on really strong in his kind of second opportunity. You can see he's up to a 3.5 star, hit 8 home runs, drove in 30, play all 3 positions as well. Might look to use him as trade bait since we've got Jared Mills, or we look to move Mills and slide Ornelas into that backup outfielder role. Mountcastle wasn't very good. Played better in the second half, put up a 450 slugging percentage, so the potential's there. And he was better than he was in his rookie year, so maybe he'll get incrementally better this upcoming season. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze and I didn't want to do it on mic. Brendan McKay was really bad. Doesn't look like he's going to develop that two-way skill like he has in real life. But his hitting ratings are too good to give up on yet. So we'll keep him around and hopefully next year will be a little better. Third base is a position we may look to upgrade. Or excuse me, this is Noel V. Marte, the shortstop that we picked up from Seattle at the trade deadline. Wasn't very good with the bat. But he was very good defensively. It's a plus 3.5 zone rating in 45 games. So which is really all I wanted him to do this year. I didn't expect him to hit much. But, you expect more than 195. So hopefully that will develop next season. Darian Perez was the other trade deadline acquisition. He didn't do very well offensively either. But you can see, he had a 328 on base percentage. He only hit 220, so a 320 on base percentage isn't terrible. Freudis Nova, I mentioned we could be looking to upgrade at third base. He's still young. He's still only 23. But the average slipped. Average slipped almost 30 points. On base percentage slipped 30 points. So his OPS was only 659. So it's got to be better than that. If he can put up this 772 OPS year after year, with that, but otherwise we'll have to look for a possible upgrade there. Pitching is okay in some places and not so okay in others. Pablo Lopez and Braxton Garrett, the two pitchers we got from Miami last year, were our two top pitchers, both at identical ERAs of about 4.27, 4.28, C3.4, 2.5 WAR. Garrett led us in wins. Lopez led us in innings pitched. Marshall Kozlowski, after coming over from the Dodgers, was pretty good. 24 innings, 43 strikeouts. He settled that walk rate down quite a bit. And that made him, even his BABIP was still ridiculously high. So he was really good for us and is going to be on the minimum next year. Josiah Gray was really good for us as well after coming over. 55 strikeouts to only 8 walks in 50 innings. So those guys were both solid pickups. Sam Hentges was a revelation. He was 10-1 on the year, 5-1 with a 3.51 ERA for us. He was the throw-in in that deal to get Darian Perez, and really good. So I'm pleased there. Joey Wentz was not very good after getting him from Detroit, but a really high BABIP, so I'm hoping that number will come down. 2 home runs per 10 innings. That's just too many. So we'll see. And Shane Baz was really weird. He went from being the pitcher of the month in August to being one of the worst pitchers in baseball history for the month of September. He was 4-1, or excuse me, in July he was 4-1 with a 3.34 ERA. In August, he was 0-5 with a 10.64. September, he was 0-1 with a 6.33. So over 10 starts, he posted an ERA of, about 8.5 in 10 starts between August and September. So that wasn't good. But the potential's down to a 3-star, but he's still got a little bit of room to grow, still has 4 good pitches. So I am hopeful there. So that's where we stood stat-wise. Go to arbitration, and I already made the offer. I just sort of did it without thinking. But Alex Verdugo was looking for over $14 million in arbitration, so we were able to offer him 12, and that gets his number down there a little bit. And we are going to have to try to look to save some money because we are going to be running a little bit tight here. I did look at some trades for Gian Q. I'm not ready to pull the trigger yet. I'm probably going to wait until free agency, see what the market looks like for him at that point. So let's see where we can save a little money. So Khalil Lee wants 2.4. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to chintz here and try to nickel and dime and save every penny that I can because it's all important. So even if I can save a couple $100,000 over the span of arbitration, I think it's well worth it. I want to get all these cheaper ones out of the way first, and look at Pablo Lopez and see what we can do there. The rest of these guys I'm fine with. If they make 850, it's fine. Brett Conine. I mean, I think it's a decent value for 175. It wasn't very good. Not interested in talking. Oh, let's do Lopez first. So we want 7. So we can probably offer 665. Not. So 6.7. So we save 300 grand there. Again, we'll get the fan interest boost for some of these guys, hopefully. Let's see what we can actually get for 09. Let's look at just prospects first. If I don't get anything of note here, I'm just going to skip ahead to free agency. We'll talk about what we're going to do with Q because as much as I would like to keep him, it's a lot of money, and I don't think that's something we're going to be able to do. Maybe. We'll have to see what things look like at free agency, see what's available. If there's nothing available, then we may as well just keep Q because no reason to trade him just because. Slow down. That's fine, though. So hopefully we can have a decent off season. We won't get off to such a slow start next year. The beginning of that season really crippled us. Just couldn't dig out of that hole. We got close. We got really, really close to 500. I think we got within 2 or 3 games of 500 at one point during the season, and that August just was just really bad, and that really wrecked whatever shot we had of making a successful year. So let's see. Let's see Gavin Lux on this. Whoa. Look at this, guys. This never happens. Gavin Lux just fell apart. Huh. Why I love OOTP. You never know what you're going to get with these players. Is there anybody here? All right, well, then we'll just stick with Conine and we'll offer him 1785 and so. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sim ahead to free agency and we'll figure out what we need to do. So, right back. All right, it is free agency time. Let's take a look at national guys first. Got a really nice closer. Still has some room to grow. Wants 5 million. I don't know if we can afford 5 million for a bullpen piece. It's nice to finally have somebody out of the international scene that isn't just complete garbage. But still not great. All right. So let's look. Let's go back and let's look at awards. So top fielders, Q1, the Gold Glove as expected. Do we have a platinum stick? Go to Q. It went to Altuve. Best rookie. Oh yeah, Trevor Larnach, the guy that we traded Alex Verdugo for. I had a pretty good year. Ended up with 63 doubles, 25 home runs, 103 RBIs. He was a 5.5 win player. He's a little bit better than Verdugo in terms of WAR, but since WAR's a counting stat and he played a full season and Verdugo didn't, they were pretty even, I think. I think long-term Verdugo is the better bet there, so still okay with that. Manager of the year was Kevin Cash. American League Cy Young, Aaron Savale for Cleveland. 12 wins. He won the Cy Young Award with a 3.02 ERA. Okay. Huh. Right. Tyler Nevin won the NL Rookie of the Year. 23 home runs. NL Cy Young Award winner, Walker Buehler. AL MVP of Vlad Jr. and the NL MVP, no surprise, Juan Soto is 155 walks, 334, almost a 1,200 OPS, back-to-back 10.7 WAR seasons. Juan Soto is really good at baseball. So, all right, let's take a look at the pitching staff first. I think we're a little more settled here. We do need a bullpen arm. Let's look at our minor leagues and make sure we're not missing anybody. Yeah, we need a bullpen arm. Could potentially use a starter. If I don't believe in Wentz, could use a starting pitcher. Definitely need a bullpen arm. We have Kozlowski and Garcia, kind of 1-2, so we don't need a closer style, but maybe a solid veteran middle reliever that we can slot in and a starting pitcher. So at least one, maybe two pitchers. We have plenty of people to play offense, but I think we are going to look to upgrade really upgrade at DH and third base. So upgrading at DH just means finding a better hitter than the combination of McKay and Mountcastle, which I don't know if it's going to be possible. I mean, McKay against righties, really, really good. And Mountcastle against lefties is really, really good. So we may just go back to that next year if there's nobody available that really stands out. So let's take a look and let's see what's available for and then we'll think a little bit harder about what we want to do. My computer crawls along. I think moving Q this offseason is a definite possibility. It's not something I would be crazy about doing, but it's something I would definitely talk about doing if I could get the right return. We have 26 million, so we don't have a ton of money, but we've got some. Definitely have some. I'm not going to give up a comp pick anywhere, so can forget about the Matt Olsons of the world and Ryan McMahons, although Matt Olson, nice to have that in our lineup, that's for sure. Let's see. Benny's back on the market. Yeah, I'm glad we did end up signing him last year. Aren't really any bats here that scream pay me. Cheers. Bullpen arm, and I mean, maybe Yap is the right move. Just wants Darvish wants $15 million, and he missed 2 full seasons with injury. That's not going to happen. Blake Snell is $23 million. Those are your 2 top starters. Maybe he is the right. Go after Hicks. My only fear with Hicks are his personality ratings. We already have a head case in Verdugo. Things don't go well next year, we'll have a couple of head cases, and I don't really want that. This guy has a positive influence on his teammates. Next half decade closing out games. Yeah, I mean, I think that might be a move there. Yeah, for starters, Lance, veteran. Pretty bad in Texas last year, but has 5 good pitches. A lot of money. Sandy Alcantara, who we had in our Cubs save. He might not be a bad investment for $1.3 million. So I think what I'm going to do is this, I think I'm going to set my sights first on Yap just because he's cheaper and younger. And from there, I might see what the market bears out for Q and see if we can pick up an elite frontline pitcher or a bat, because if I traded him, what would we do on the middle? Traded Q. Marte is our starting shortstop, so we would second baseman, and we could just go Rocchio, call it a day. But that's assuming he's, yeah, I mean, it would be such a downgrade at second base. I almost feel like if we traded him, we'd have to trade him for another second baseman and then a pitcher as well. If I could make a move like that, I would have to consider it. And maybe we can add Ornelas into the deal to try to expand it. Might not be a bad idea if we tried to move Ornelas and Q and bring back a frontline pitcher and another second baseman in return. I mean, that might work because we are, we're still a little light in the prospect department, as we're still a new team. So, I mean, Trinkle isn't bad. He just hasn't developed. Didn't hit well in AAA. We got him for next to nothing. He's not a top 100 prospect anymore. So sheen has definitely come off of him. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend some time digging around and seeing what the market bears for Q. When we come back, it'll be the Rule 5 draft. We'll go through signings and things of that nature. Yeah, we'll be back in just a minute. Hang tight. All right, guys, it is Rule 5 draft time. I just got the waiver wire up here. I was looking to see if there was anything of substance there, and there isn't. Old friend Davey Garcia is there. He hasn't developed like he did in our in my Cubs series, so we'll leave him there. Let's see. Let's take a look at. Have we made any moves since we talked last? I know I've got some contracts out there, so we did sign Hai-Feng Yap, 3 years, $12 million. I think that's a very solid deal. $4 million a year for a potentially elite closer. If he's not elite, that's fine. $4 million for a pretty good setup man is still good. He's still young, still got room to grow. Also becomes a really solid trade chip for us if things don't go well. We have a couple of deals pending currently. If we pull those up. See, we have offered a 1-year contract to Cody Sedlock. Not very good. Pitched really well in AAA, Norfolk last year for Baltimore. But he has 4 decent pitches, decent stamina, good stuff, good movement. His control's a little light, but could be good pitching depth. And then we also offered a contract to Antonio Senzatela. Antonio Senzatela. He's a little bit, I don't know. I think he's 28. Got 4 decent pitches, good movement, pretty good control, decent stuff. His numbers haven't related. I mean, he pitched really poorly in Seattle a year ago, but was pretty good 2 years ago for the Mariners. Beyond that, hasn't been terrific, but he's got some decent ratings. So I think we're up to about $2 million right now. So for $2 million, it's fine. And then the only real significant free agent offer we've made has been to Heimer Candelario, former Tiger third baseman. I said I was looking to upgrade at third base, and Candelario kind of gives me what it is we're looking for. It's pretty good defensively, not great at turning the double play, but good range, good arm, won't make a ton of errors. He's got a pretty good bat. I mean, he had 24 home runs, drove in 97 last year. If he can put up an 800 OPS, I'll be happy with that. We offered him a 3-year, $12 million contract with the back 2 years, both team options. So worst case scenario, it's a 1-year, $4 million deal. Again, a trading chip. Or if he does really, really well, it gives us an opportunity then to consider moving Freudis Nova. I've held on to Q thus far, and I don't want to say I got unlucky. I think I waited too long. Prior to free agency, I had a couple of really impressive offers for Q. One of them was Brusdar Graterol from the Dodgers, and the other one was Luis Arias, the second baseman from the Minnesota Twins. I didn't pull the trigger on either of them. I wanted to wait till free agency, and now neither of them are considering that deal. Yeah, Arias hit 374 last year, and if I come in here now and offer up Q that they're $15 million over budget. If I go to the Dodgers and ask for Graterol, I get please get back to me when you have a serious offer. So had I pulled that trigger back before free agency, I could have had either another second baseman, significantly less, at 370 last year, or I could have another young stud starting pitcher. But that's not to be right now. So I don't want to say we're stuck with Q, because I mean he's put up a 7 WAR and almost 7 WAR season in 2 years with us, stole 143 bases in 2 seasons. But it's going to limit our flexibility elsewhere. So, Rule 5 draft. That's why we're here. So, we are picking 10th. And I've already kind of gone through this, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's anybody earth-shattering. We'll take another quick look. There were a couple of decent players. There was a decent one or two decent pitchers, and were a couple decent bats, but nothing that would make me jump. Look. Yeah, you can see nothing here that's just, ridiculous. I don't really need another outfielder. I don't have room to play the outfielders I have. So taking somebody like De La Rosa could be a good player down the road, but right now I wouldn't have a spot for him. And if we look at pitching potential, starting not much. I mean, Wilkeman Ramirez is somebody I'm considering, but other than that, there's not a whole lot here. Antonio Cardenas. I mean, you're going to get this basically the same type of player. These 3-pitch pitchers who who have stuff, movement, and control are going to be decent at 2 out of 3, but not all 3. Yeah, Wilkeman Ramirez, he's got decent stuff, decent movement, but bad control. But he looks like he could step as a future number 2. I mean, maybe let's take a risk on Wilkeman Ramirez, and maybe we can turn around and trade him. That happens. I mean, people take Rule 5 picks. So, what? This player cannot be drafted. Drafting him would violate current rules. understand. Is my 40-man full? Oh, my 40-man's full. Okay. Pat Quantrill, Bukowskis, all designated. Again. All right, so take Wilkham and Ramirez. We'll complete the draft. I'm going to continue to sim ahead. I'll continue to look to see if there's a deal for Q that makes sense. If not, we keep him on our team and we run year 3. Hopefully, we can continue to see some improvement from our young players. Hopefully, our pitching staff can continue to improve. We still have a lot of young players who are not at their current potential yet. So I'm hopeful, but we're always looking for an upgrade. So I'll continue to look for that upgrade. See if we can find something. If we find something that makes sense, I'll pull the trigger. If not, then we stay with what we have. I mean, Bo Naylor's up to a 4.5 star potential. He looks like he could be something special for us, which is really nice. We have a nice middle of the line, or nice 1 through 4 here. Naylor will probably move up. So I mean, our 1 through 5 is pretty solid. Just need to figure out the rest of the lineup. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to work on that, and we will be back at opening day. We'll set rosters, set bullpens, and call it an episode. So be right back. All right, guys, we are back. It is a couple days away from opening day. We've got to trim down the roster, set our rotations, set our lineups. Before we do that, we did make a couple of moves leading up to opening day. So let's go back to December, because I think that's where so nothing happened in December other than we drafted Wilkham and Ramirez in the Rule 5. So go ahead to 4. So a couple of things happened. We did sign Sedlock and Candelario, who's already dropped. His contact has already dropped. That sucks. A 43 contact isn't going to get it done. At this point, I may as well just keep Nova in the... I forgot to shut off my email. Sorry about that. Let me do it right now. All right. Yeah, so we may as well keep Nova in the lineup. We'll start Candelaria and see how he does. Maybe start him against righties and start Nova against lefties. But worst case scenario, it's a $4 million sunk cost. We have money for this year. We signed Pablo Lopez to a 4-year contract worth $44 million, $11 million a year, and opt out after the 3rd season. I think that's a pretty fair deal, considering what he's done. He has never had a winning record, but his peripherals have been pretty solid. I mean, he was a 4-win pitcher for us last year, so that takes us through his 31, potentially age 32 season, so we lock up our quote-unquote ace. And then we made a trade with the New York Yankees. We sent Cal Quantrill, Jared Mills, Tristan Cassis, and Chris Tirado to the Yankees, getting Jason Dominguez and Ali Sanchez. So the big get for the Yankees here is probably Cassis. He was stuck behind Diaz. He wasn't going to get that playing time. So I just felt it was time to use the value in him and move him. So we sent him and Jared Mills. I chose moving Mills over Ornelas just due to financial reasons. Mills was, according to my salary breakdown, he was eligible to make nearly $4 million in arbitration next season. And that's a lot of money for a backup outfielder. So we moved him. And then Quantrill is just always hurt. So he spent last year in AAA for us. And Tirado is a 1.5 star shortstop. In exchange, we get Jason Dominguez and Ali Sanchez. Picked up Ali Sanchez because of his defense. You just don't get any better than this. He will be my backup catcher, but I will have him in a defensive role. I'm hoping that helps the pitching staff. Certainly won't hurt it. His bat is okay. You know, if he can put up a 650 to 700 OPS but play elite defense, I'm fine with that. But the big get was Jason Dominguez, and we had him in our, or have him, I guess, in our Cubs save as well. But I just couldn't pass it up. His number 76 prospect in baseball, you know, and you know the drill with Dominguez. We got him with the Cubs. Good power, good gap power. Will have decent contact, good speed, good defense in center field. He will start in Double-A, and that's really going to allow us some flexibility this offseason regarding Khalil Lee. Khalil Lee is making $2.3 million this year. Arbitration shows that number jumping up to 5.5 next season. So it's a very distinct possibility that next year we move on from either Lee or Verdugo, whose ratings have started to drop. But more importantly, Verdugo is making $11.5 million this year and wants a significant bump next year. So we will likely have to move on from one, if not both, of these corner outfielders going into next season. So that would leave us with Ornelas, Perez, who can play any of the outfield positions, and Dominguez. I mean, if we had Perez in left, Dominguez in center, and Ornelas in right, that is a very, very, very good defensive outfield, young defensive outfield with room to grow. So, I mean, I'd love to hang on to Verdugo. It's just all going to depend on what he's asking for. So we'll see how he does throughout this. And this is always a risk, right? I mean, he wants 9 years. I mean, I could probably talk him down to 5 right now and pay him, you know, $14 to $18 million for that amount of time. But if his numbers don't hold up, then that becomes a difficult contract to move. But if it does hold up, it's, you know, and he puts up numbers similar to what he did last year for the length of the contract, which were very good, then it becomes a really significant value. So I'm not sure what I want to do. I might give it a few weeks and see how the first, I guess, month to 2 months of the season goes, and then go from there. So let's start to reduce our pitching staff here. So we've got 17, so we need to send 5 pitchers down. Oh, and we also traded for Joey Lucchesi. We traded him for next to nothing. It was a half-star 19-year-old reliever. Houston was looking to move him, so I figured pick him up for the depth. Great changeup, good stuff. He'll just be another bullpen arm for us. So we're not going to send Hartlieb down. We are going to waive Hartlieb. We are going to send down Ray. Oof. Everybody is out of options. That's a bit of a problem. Let's do this. And Garcia's numbers dropped a little bit. He had an 80-something stuff rating when we picked him up last year. Send him down. Gray in my bullpen. Joey Wentz as my number 5. So we're at 14, so we got to send 2 more people down. We can't send Wilkham and Ramirez down. Sorry, I'm moving around in my chair here, making a lot of noise. We can't send Wilkham and Ramirez down because he's on the Rule 5, and his numbers actually got better while he was during spring training. I think Griffin Jack's the other odd man out. I think so. Can I send him down? I can. All right. So let's just stick with 13 for now. We might go with 13 pitchers. Let's just see what we can do with the lineup. So we have to send 8 players down. Send Duran down. We're going to send 1, 2, 3. Those 3 guys. I can't send Muzziotti down. Okay. And maybe we go with the 5 outfielders. Muzziotti can back up in center, and then Ornelas can back up in left and right where he is better served. I think Rocio needs to go down, or do I send down Messenger? He's a captain, though, which I love, especially with a team that you're kind of unsure about. Zo's going to go down. Yeah, I'm going to have some tough decisions to make here. I have to send how many more people down? 4. Let's do this. Rocio projects to be the better player. And he actually, I mean, I think we're going to send Rocio down just to let him play in AAA. Nova's going to play against lefties. Messenger, let's see if I don't, the problem is well, Nova can back up all 3 infield positions, I guess. So I guess we're going to do this. Brings us to 27. I'm still going to have to send somebody down. All right, let's try to move Yahure. And if there's nothing of real value, then we will just designate and move on. Yeah, see, this is the thing, though. He actually has some value. Some value. Not a ton, but he's got some. It's always tough because I hate giving away talent. You know, I hate giving away players that I know that, Jared Mills is hurt. That you know are going to get picked up on the waiver wire. But it's like, do I trade him for somebody who isn't going to have a future with us? I mean, what sense does that make? Daniel Cabrera. Corner. Brock Burke. Just check prospects. It might just be, I might just cut bait. I mean, I can get something in value, but let's take a look at prospects. If I can get, 3-star. See, if he was 22, then sure. But at 24, really worth it. On Barber. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about it. Just going to waive him. All right, so I have 26 players. I have to send one more down. And it's got to be an out. It's got to be a... Got to be an out. It's got to be Muzziotti. Muzziotti, I really don't want to... I don't want to send him down. Yuck. I mean, if he doesn't have any value, maybe I can sneak him through waivers. And I guess that's probably the hope. Yeah, there's nothing here. All right, we'll try to try to send him through waivers and see what happens. All right, so we got our 25. So let's go in and set our pitching ratings. So Lopez is our ace. We switch this to 5. Lopez is our ace. Then Braxton Garrett. Then we're going to stick Baz in there. It looks like he got a little better. So Baz. And guess I really want to fight the urge to start Josiah Gray. He was so good out of the pen for me. What about Joey Lucchesi? What happens if I make him a starter? I think this is the move. Start Lucchesi. So we're going to have Kozlowski as our closer. Gray as setup, but 7th or later because I want him pitching a little more. The other closer, he will be our middle relief alongside Brett Conine. Joey Wentz will be the long relief. Wilkin Ramirez will be that. So we'll go with that. Concerned about my pitching staff, 3, 4, and 5. If you know, Baz obviously had a really good first month and then just a really bad second and third month. So it all depends on which Shane Baz shows up. If we're solid 1 through 3 in the rotation, I think we'll be okay. But if we just have Lopez and Garrett at the top of the rotation, we do have, and I certainly don't want to rush him, but Sean Cervantes, who was our number 1 pick in 2022, he's coming along really nicely. He will probably be up with the big club at some point next year. He's going to start in AA, probably finish the season in AAA. So we have somebody making his way up. Let's look at the lineup now. Clear all lineups, clear all depth charts, batting ratings. All right, so Keon Ju, Khalil Lee, 1-2 at the top. Oops. I did that backwards. Khalil Lee's going to bat second. Gian Q's going to bat leadoff. Alex Verdugo's going to bat third. Don't like having 3 lefties in a row like that, but I don't really know what else to do with my lineup the way it's currently set up. So I do need to get a right-handed hitter, and I think it's going to be Candelario. Yeah, he'll bat 5th. He's got some power and a good eye, so he might be able to kind of be that second leadoff guy in the middle of the order. Candelario, then McKay. We give McKay another shot against righties as our DH. If he doesn't hit, that'll be the end of my experiment with him. So we need our center fielder, our shortstop, and our catcher. So that's going to be Perez. So it's going to be all lefties. Oof. Or no, Marte is a righty. Perez. Okay, so we're really left-handed heavy in our lineup. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about that either. The only real move I have is to start Mountcastle against righties. Maybe that's the move. And I'm going to try that. I don't like how left-handed heavy the that lineup is. So let's generate the depth chart. First of all, let's do this. Let's copy this over here. Mountcastle out, and here we're not going to have much of a choice. We're going to have to be left-handed heavy against righties. McKay and Mountcastle will back up somewhere, I guess. So it's got Nova in at the shortstop positions, which is what I wanted, or the infield positions, which is what I wanted. I don't want Mountcastle playing every fifth. Yeah, I may have to reset this because I think this is still using spring training settings. So I'll reset these once we get to opening day. So if we go to left-handed, paste the lineup again. Let's do this one first. So this one's going to be a little different. Brightest Nova. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little different. I've got too many lefties. I'm going to have to do something about that. I need a right-handed bat coming off the bench somewhere. Because Perez can't play against lefties. He just can't hit lefties. But Ornelas will come in. Play center. Yeah, I don't like this at all. I can only play first and third, right? All right. Well, that's something I can screw around with, but I think this is what we're going to do with the lineup. Here we can get a little more flexible, I think, as we can play. Lee can't hit lefties either, so I can put Mountcastle in left. Do go in right. And then that lineup becomes a little more effective, I guess, against left-handed hitting. Naylor's actually not bad, which is nice. So we'll just do that against righties, I guess. And it's going to just about, let's go ahead and sim up to opening day. Take a look really quickly at the preseason predictions, and we'll call it an episode. Let's see what we can do here in year number 4. We had a small step back in year number 3. We won 2 fewer games. Pitching was really, really rough at the beginning of the year. So hopefully we have a bounce back season. So again, stay close to 500. Top prospects, there's nobody there. Where are we in prospect ranking? Number 7. So Perez is 13th, 32nd is Cervantes. Fabre is 52nd, Dominguez is 69th, and Randy Abisher is 92nd. So Abisher's not a bad pitcher at all. A little bit old, 24-year-old, but he'll be all right. Preseason predictions has us going 90-72. Again, with one of the best ERAs in the American League. And again, we're going to do it through our legs. 193 stolen bases. Nobody offensively. Pitching, it's got Lucchesi going 13-11. Lopez going 13-10. We shall see. And guys, I think that's going to just about do it. So as always, leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts. And until we talk again, everybody take care. Bye-bye.